The U.S. Navy is now responding to a suspected attack on 2 oil tankers in the Gulf of Oman. Navy officials say it received 2 distress calls less than an hour apart. Flames, billows of black smoke. You see it there pouring out of one of those tankers, a serious attack. A source tells CNN the incident is very similar to an attack just last month when 4 tankers were targeted in the United Arab Emirates port. News of the alleged attack sent oil prices soaring. Worries about supply there, sending prices up.
Shalom, y'all about to see that show, brother.
Barbara Starr and CNN international diplomatic editor Nick Robertson. Nick, looking at this, they appear to be connected in some way, similar MO to these attacks. Is there any evidence now as to who's behind them?
What we can say at the moment, Jim, is this is a clear escalation over and above those previous attacks. The previous attacks were mines attached to the rear, the sterns of vessels while they were at anchor. These ships were moving. They were heavily laden with oil and chemicals, and they were targeted while they were on the move, and that is different to the previous attack. So this is an escalation. It's an escalation as well, of course, because one person was injured, that the fires broke out, and that the crews were forced to abandon ship. What has been described by the master on board one of those vessels is some sort of shell hitting the side of the vessel. The broad side of the vessel is on fire rather than either end. So this is unlikely, it appears unlikely that the vessel was struck by a mine, and certainly from the accounts on board the vessel that there were 2 strikes of some sort of shell. So this gives us an indication of an escalation. Now the Iranian Navy initially, according to Iranian media, rescued all 44 of the crew members aboard and took them to an Iranian island in the vicinity. Now this was the early reporting, of course, but this seems to be a much more serious incident targeting heavily laden vessels on the move that now have no one on those ships, Jim.
Barbara Starr, U.S. Navy responding, providing assistance, but I also imagine concerned about the safety of U.S. naval vessels in the same area.
Well, it's one of the reasons, of course, they need to find out as fast as possible what exactly happened here and who may be behind it all and what their intentions are. There were 2 Navy warships that received the distress calls early today, but it was the USS Bainbridge that was closest and was able to move in. A tug, a Netherlands tug, actually picked up 21 crew members from one of the stricken ships. They got onto the tug, and then the tug transferred them to the Bainbridge, where they are now at this hour. No firm word on the other crew from the other vessel. But these are waters that the U.S. Navy consistently operates in. Many of the allies operate in them. The fate of these commercial mariners is very serious because these are people who have no means of defending themselves. They man these ships up and down these waters. They carry vital cargo, and they just have no means of defending themselves when they come under attack. So there's going to be a lot of concern. As you mentioned already, oil prices spiking. We will have to see if the market calms down. This is likely potentially to raise commercial brokerage insurance rates for these commercial ships at some point. So there's a lot of economic impact. We are already hearing from the tanker industry about how concerned they are, and we will have to see how military forces in the region, if they do respond, what may happen next. Jim?
Well, Nick, that economic impact may very well be the intention of an attack like this, is it not? In other words, to show the kind of trouble a state actor or a non-state actor can cause in the event of bigger hostilities. And of course, it happens at a time when the U.S. and Iran, and the U.S. and its allies in Iran, ramping up the rhetoric and the tension in the region.
Jim, there's a very clear cause and effect here. The attack off the coast of the Emirates 4 weeks ago on those 4 ships, the UN said that a state actor was most likely behind it. Both the United States and Saudi Arabia said that they believed Iran was behind the attack. Well, in the wake of those attacks, noticing that Iran is under tougher and tougher economic sanctions and wants a way to get out from under those sanctions. You have right now the Japanese Prime Minister in Iran talking to the President and the Supreme Leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. So if you've got a cause, which is that spike in tensions because of the attacks 4 weeks ago, and the effect is the Iranians get a senior figure on the global stage to come and talk to them about their concerns. This seems to be, amplifying that message, turning up the heat.
Yeah, these things often are very much connected. Barbara Starr, Nick Robertson, thanks very much.